Hey, g'day again. Right, we've, as you can see, had engine gearbox out again. Went out camping on the weekend and got stuck in the sand, and then it wouldn't go into reverse. And yeah, consequently we had to push it out, and fortunately we had a bit of assistance from some other people that were there. And yeah, and then the rest of the weekend I just made sure I didn't stop anywhere where I had to get reverse. But anyway, I've pulled it apart again. I have made videos on how to get it apart. Actually, I'll run through it real quick. Okay, all this stays within your end casing. You have to undo this shaft here. You see, you probably can't see till I put some light on it. Put some light on it. Yeah. So the thread there, just an 8mm thread. Okay. That pokes through your casing, and it comes through this bearing hole here, just here. Not showing it real well. Anyway, and this switches your main driller shaft. Yeah, you push that down, and you just push it in and you screw it on. Okay, when it's screwed in, but don't lock it up tight, just down to where it meets. If you lock it up tight, your splines won't line up. See, this spline's got to line up with the spline on the other shaft. Then you slide this gear back over it, and circle it just here. Circle it, which is, yeah, down in the bottom there still at the moment. So that's the first thing you have got to undo, and then you got to undo this nut, big pinion nut. And I've also made videos on that. I made me a special tool, and I've got another tool that, yeah, you screw up onto your wrench or your socket bar, torque wrench, and yeah, so you undo it and get it undone. Anyway, I said I've made other videos on that. This is what I found. Pull it all apart. Firstly, I checked. I put it into second and made sure that the gears are meshing here. That way I know that it's sort of roughly into place. See, when you tighten this up, according to the shims, this whole shaft moves within that casing. And I made another video on making a jig, because I had actually replaced the synchro in second gear, I think it was. And yeah, so I had to readjust the I don't know the word for this, the selectors. The selector shafts, they just slide up and down on the shaft, so I've had to readjust them, and the only way I could get them right was to make up a jig and hold the shaft in its correct, the position it will be in when it's bolted back into the case. Anyway, as I said, I did make a video on that, so I'm not going to go over that too much. Now, as I said, now what I found, so now I put it in reverse. I'll do this sort of just quickly. This is your reverse one over here. Yeah. Yeah, that's your cap. Your cap's got a hook on it. Anyway, it just hooks between the three of these. This one, back one's your reverse. That, yeah, I can't do it one-handed anyway. Can't pull it up. You got to lever it up. It's got a detent spring in it. But anyway, when you pull it up, it levers your gear, which is, yeah, this piece hooks on the bottom of that. That holds your gear, which is here, which is, yeah, can go in either way. I've actually turned it around because it's ground off. It's a bit worn on that side, so I've just switched it around. But As I said, yeah, when I'd first looked at it, it was like in this position. And I went, okay, I need to adjust it. It must have been way over adjustment. And then I clicked it backwards and forwards a few times, and all of a sudden it's fully engaging. And what I realised is that it had actually slipped on the adjustment. So you got adjustment here in the slot. There's a bolt goes in there. And bolt's up on the bench. Anyway, so there's a bolt goes in there, and the bolt was tight. It hadn't come loose or anything. It just hadn't held it. Like, probably, you know, because I've been too heavy-handed on the gear stick, you know, and jammed it into reverse while it was stuck in the sand, you know, and yeah, moved it back. But as I said, I'm pushing it backwards and forwards, and it just slipped back into place. So, and to make sure this isn't going to happen again, and what I should really do is, you know, it's on full adjustment now because this piece is worn. This is your brass selector, and what I really should do is go and buy a new one. But I've neither got money nor time to wait for it. I need this back on the road ASAP. So, as I said, it's still fully engaging on full adjustment. But the other thing you can see, it's just sort of worn on one side. So the other thing I'm going to check too is this bolt, because I had to, yeah, because the reverse runs on second gear, I swapped the second gear out of the other box, and because it was broken, but it's a different gear. No, this one here, yeah, this second here. Anyway, it was a different size gear to what was in it, so I swapped the second gear out of the other box, but then it didn't match the reverse gear, so this reverse gear is out of my other swing arm box anyway. And it also means, yeah, it takes a different selector, so I don't have a spare anyway, or do I? Actually, I think the other one's even worse than this. But anyway, what I'm getting to is I had to undo this to get it off. And that lock nut, you loosen that lock nut, and this will turn. And I'm thinking that I don't actually have it close enough, so I'm gonna let off that lock nut. I'm gonna put the gear in, and yeah, turn that down just a little bit so it's a bit closer. I mean, the gear itself is on another shaft. It can't mesh any tighter into the second gear anyway, but you can get the selector itself to push in closer. See, so I think that's why it's worn, because it's not pushing into the gear well enough, and it's, yeah, because it's sort of loose on the gear, it's twisting like this. So anyway, I'm going to try and take the twist out of it, because where the gear actually fits in here, it's actually not too bad. A little bit there, but yeah, I said most of that wear is because it's twisting, so yeah, I should be able to take some of that out. Anyway, getting back to the main problem. Yeah, to ensure that this doesn't slip again, as I said, this bolt was tight, it shouldn't have slipped. And yeah, so what I've done, and most of you, a few people are going to cringe when they hear this, because yeah, it's a bit bodge, but I've cut end off another 6mm bolt and dropped that in there, put the bolt in beside it. And there's no way in the world that can now slip back again. Okay? The washer that's on the bolt, yeah, it covers more than half of that, so it can't fall out and get jammed in your gearbox or anything like that. There's no issues with it. You know, I'm also going to lock tight this bolt when I put it back in, make sure it doesn't come loose. But anyway, so yeah, that's my solution for the time being, and yeah, I should actually order, or see if I can. I can even get one of these. Oh, yeah, well, not that, but the selector gear. I think it is the same selector. The gear was different, but I think the selector's the same. And if that's the case, then this was already the better one. The other one's even worse. So yeah, I think I'm going to order another selector and just stock it away in my parts in case I have any more issues with it. If I have to pull it apart again, I'll put the new selector in it next time. And yeah, if I put a new selector in it, well then I'll probably have to readjust this anyway, and yeah, it may well end up back where it was. So anyway, so just a short one, bit of a bit of a rave. Hope it makes sense to somebody. And yeah, anyway, so that's my solution for the moment. I need this going. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.